Michael Bloomberg was fired from Salomon Brothers in 1981 with a $10 million severance package and an idea. Wall Street traders needed better financial data, and nobody was providing it well. So he built a terminal, not a revolutionary product, a highly practical, data rich, brutally functional tool that financial professionals adopted. Then he made sure that they could never leave. And that's the architecture. That's what we're auditing today. Hello, my name is Todd Hagopian, the original Stagnation Assassin, author of The Unfair Advantage and Stagnation Assassin on Amazon. But today, we're pulling the leadership file on Michael Bloomberg as entrepreneur and specifically the Bloomberg's terminals moat architecture, the switching cost design that has sustained $25,000 per year per terminal pricing for decades. This isn't a tribute, this is a forensic audit. So let's see what Mr. Bloomberg actually built. The leadership stagnation score on the financial data services industry in 1981 was 7 out of 10 on the corporate cancer scale. The disease was data fragmentation. Equity prices, bond data, economic data, and analytics tools were siloed across multiple providers, requiring financial professionals to aggregate information across systems that didn't communicate. Bloomberg's insight: the professional who could access everything in one place would never willingly return to the fragmented alternative. So let's look at the forensic audit, what Bloomberg got right here. The proprietary keyboard. Bloomberg built a dedicated proprietary keyboard for terminal users, not because keyboards are strategically important, but because the proprietary keyboard created a learned behavior and a muscle memory that made switching to any alternative interface immediately painful. This is the switching cost architecture at the granular level. The more specific the skill required to use your product, the higher the cost of learning to use the competitors. The institutional network effects: Bloomberg's terminals are valuable partly because other Bloomberg terminal users are on the Bloomberg messaging system. When a trader on Bloomberg Terminal wants to communicate with a counterpart at another institution, they use Bloomberg Messaging, which only works if the counterpart also has a Bloomberg Terminal. This network effect compounds with every new institutional subscriber. Each additional terminal increases the value of every existing terminal. Brilliant. The data comprehensiveness as a strategy. Bloomberg invested aggressively in data coverage, adding new asset classes, new geographies, new data types before customers even asked for them. By the time a customer needed the data, Bloomberg already had it. This proactive comprehensiveness made Bloomberg the default standard for professional financial data rather than a competitive option that required evaluation. The pricing architecture. A Bloomberg terminal costs approximately $25,000 per year. For any professional whose compensation depends on financial markets, $25,000 is less than the cost of one bad trade made with inferior data. Bloomberg priced at the value it created, not at the cost of producing it. This is grandiose goal setting applied to pricing. Price at the level your product deserves, not at the level your competitors have normalized. Let's look at the murder board, what Bloomberg got wrong. So, Bloomberg's product interface has been notoriously difficult to learn, requiring weeks of training, a complex command structure, which has created a genuine barrier for new users and persistent complaint among existing ones. The difficulty is partly a switching cost feature, like we talked about, but it's also a product design failure. The terminal is harder to use than it needs to be. And competitors have made meaningful inroads in specific market segments by offering more accessible alternatives. Bloomberg also faced significant workplace culture challenges. There's documented reports of a workplace environment with gender discrimination that represent governance failures inconsistent with the institutional standards the Bloomberg terminal helped professional markets apply to their own operations. So the stagnation verdict here: 4 kills out of 5. Michael Bloomberg built one of the most durable competitive moats in the history of information services. The switching cost architecture of a Bloomberg terminal is a masterclass in how to make a product indispensable. The UX difficulty is a real product failure, though, and the workplace culture issues are governance failures that cost him the fifth kill. Study Bloomberg for switching cost architecture, network effect design, and value based pricing. Then build the product experience and the governance standards that should accompany it. So that's your forensic audit on Michael Bloomberg and the Bloomberg terminal. Remember, grab the Unfair Advantage and the Stagnation Assassin on Amazon.com. I'm Todd Hagopian. Price at the value your product deserves, not at the level your competitors have normalized. If your product is indispensable, price it like it is.